Hello, welcome back to the Atlantis Football YouTube channel, and today will be the first episode of Transfer Talk. I'll be discussing whether Gareth Bale will make a move back to England with Manchester United, and should Arsenal sell Aubameyang to China. So before the video starts, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell symbol so you get notifications and you don't miss out on any of the content coming over the summer. Also give this video a like if you enjoy it, and I'll put a quiz question in the comment section below, so go down there and see if you can get the answer right. So Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane have made it clear that they want Gareth Bale off their books this summer, but the major problem is Gareth Bale's salary. So Gareth Bale is on around 20 million net a year, which is about 600k a week once you factor in the tax that Real Madrid have to pay him, which means over a year he's probably Real Madrid are probably paying out around 35 million. So Gareth Bale also has a 3-year contract, which means that Real Madrid are going to be paying close to around £100 million for the entirety of Gareth Bale's contract. So that means that any club signing him permanently will probably have to match these wages, and at around 30, he's 29, I think he's turning 30 soon, that's just not a deal that any top club will be prepared to do. So what Real Madrid are looking to do is loan him out in a similar way they did to James Rodriguez, where they sent him on a 2-year loan to Bayern Munich, which would mean that a club wouldn't have to pay a fee, and also there wouldn't be that risk attached that if they sign Gareth Bale on a 5-year contract, that they'd be paying those massive wages somewhere down the line. But Gareth Bale himself has made no intent, or suggested no intent, to want to leave Real Madrid and take a pay cut, which has further amplified this situation, which rules out clubs like Tottenham and maybe say Inter Milan, who will never be able to afford 600k a week, and it means that the only clubs that can potentially afford Gareth Bale are going to be Manchester United, PSG, Bayern Munich. But even those clubs don't really want to have those wages on their books. If you look at Manchester United with Alexis Sanchez, he's only on about 350k a week. So if you're taking on Gareth Bale as well, 600k a week is just like, it's nearly double what Alexis Sanchez is on. So even a loan move at the moment doesn't seem viable for Manchester United or even Bayern Munich. So at the moment Gareth Bale just seems stuck at Real Madrid, and it doesn't look like he's going to get a move anytime soon, unless either party seems to drop their wage demands, or Real Madrid say they'll pay some of the weekly wage, which is probably going to be the likely outcome. So if we look at this situation from Manchester United's perspective, they need a winger, a right winger preferably, and Gareth Bale maybe 2 years ago would definitely fit that bill. So Jadon Sancho, that doesn't look like it will happen. Sancho seems content to stay in Dortmund. Pepe seems like he probably would prefer to go to Liverpool. So Manchester United may be in a situation towards the end of the window where they don't have a right winger, and at that point maybe Gareth Bale becomes an option. So if I was Manchester United, the only way I'd do this deal would be if Real Madrid were paying a significant amount of those wages, which would have to be at least half. So you could probably get away with paying Gareth Bale around 300k a week in total, which would mean he'd get around 100 and maybe 200k a week after tax from that, and Real Madrid would make up the rest. So just playing through the situation, you'd get Gareth Bale for a year, and maybe you could go for Jadon Sancho next year, or another right winger who's younger and of better quality. Because you don't want to have Gareth Bale, even if you get him on, say, a 2 or 3 year loan, or you get him on a free with no transfer fee, you're still going to have to put him on a contract which is at least 3 years. And you can have Gareth Bale when he's 32, 33, and he's already injury prone now. So, and his powers do look to be fading, even though he was pretty good for Real Madrid the season before last, this season, and even when you're watching him with Wales, he doesn't seem at the same level that he was a few years ago. So are Manchester United even going to be getting the same player that they would be getting 2 years ago? That's in question as well. But the only way I can see Manchester United, or the only way I would do this deal if I was Manchester United, would be if you get to the end of the window and you can't get, say, a Ziyech, a Pepe, a Sancho, and you need a right winger, you get Gareth Bale, and Real Madrid will still need to get Gareth Bale off the wage bill. No other club is really going to come in and trump you. So the only real option is Manchester United. So Manchester United can leave this deal to go down to the wire, and then really force Real Madrid's hand. Maybe like the last day, or even like deadline day, say to Real Madrid, okay, we'll take Gareth Bale off you, but you're going to pay 2/3 of the wages and we'll pay 1/3. And that may be the only way they can do it. And Real Madrid might be desperate enough to get Gareth Bale off their books that they agree to that. And you get Gareth Bale for, say, 200k a week, maybe 250k a week, and get him for a year, and then next season you go for like a Jadon Sancho. So the other story floating around is whether Pierre Emerick Aubameyang will leave Arsenal. So there are reports that China, obviously it's China, for some odd reason they like to buy players who are around 29 and 30, pay them massive wages, and then they have no sell-on fee for whatever reason. But China, apparently, a club in China are willing to pay around £50-60 million for Pierre Emerick Aubameyang. So at first I know the Arsenal fans would be like, no way, he was our top scorer last season, best player along with Lacazette. There's no way Arsenal should be selling a player like that. But if you look at the details, it does make a bit more sense. And if I was Arsenal, I would make sure that we could get Aubameyang for around £60 million and do this deal and then reinvest the money elsewhere. So the first reason is Aubameyang is nearly 30 years old. So everyone knows that strikers, even if you look at Higuain or Suarez, they decline a lot when they get to around 31, 32. And you don't really want a player who's around 32 on massive wages, which is why Real Madrid look to get rid of these players around the 29, 30-year-old age mark. And the same thing that Barcelona are trying to do with Rakitic. So if Arsenal can get around £60 million, they get back what they paid for Aubameyang, and they can reinvest this elsewhere. Now, a lot of people will say Arsenal don't need the money, but when you look at the financial situation and what Arsenal have reported to be willing to spend, it's only around a £40 million net transfer budget. So if you look at the positions that Arsenal need to improve, I've done a video on this, you can go check it out. I'll link it in the description and I'll leave it on the end screen as well. But if you look at the positions that Arsenal need to improve, they need a right back because Bellerin's injury prone and Maitland doesn't seem up to the job for a whole season. They definitely need a centre back, a left back who's better defensively than Kolasinac. They need a creative central midfielder because Xhaka, Torreira and Guendouzi are more destroyers, ball-winning midfielders than, say, a creative player like a Christian Eriksen or a Tielemans, someone like that. They need probably a winger and an attacking midfielder to replace Ramsey, and obviously if Aubameyang left, you probably need a backup striker as well. So I estimated that Arsenal would need to spend around £175 million. Now, if you're looking at who they could sell, Ozil will get off their books, Mustafi, El Neni, Callum Chambers, Aaron Ramsey's going, but that still doesn't bring in a vast amount of money. But Aubameyang for £60 million would get him off the wage bill and would bring in £60 million. They could buy 3 players with that, or 2 really good quality players. So if I was Arsenal, I'd be looking to get the Chinese club to pay at least £60 million for Aubameyang, and then say thank you for what Aubameyang's done in the year and a half that he's been there. But say you need to. I always thought that Aubameyang was a pretty odd signing, considering Arsenal already had a striker, Lacazette, who's around a similar age. Lacazette's 28. So now they've got two of their best players are strikers, which means if Emery wants to move to a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 system, only one can really play in a favoured position, which was a strange move when they did the deal last January when they replaced Sanchez. They should have maybe gone for an attacking midfielder or a central midfielder, but for some reason they didn't. So I see that this is a good opportunity to correct that mistake, and then you can reinvest the money throughout the squad with players like Ziyech, who's going to be 25 million, Ibrahima Konate is going to be 35 million, Lazaro is going to be around 15 million. So if I was Arsenal, I'd be looking to do this deal and reinvest it throughout the squad, as I've said previous. So that's what I would do, but I know a lot of the Arsenal fans wouldn't want them to sell Aubameyang. And do I think they'll sell Aubameyang? No, I don't think they will. I think it will be politically damaging. I think the fans would really kick off, and the owners are in the interest now of just keeping the fans happy enough that they don't make a scene like they did under Wenger. So I think that will be what Arsenal will do. In terms of Gareth Bale, I can see him just seeing out his contract at Real Madrid. He doesn't seem that bothered. He seems more bothered with doing other stuff in Madrid, and he seems to have a pretty laid-back attitude for a player who looks like he doesn't have a future at all at Real Madrid, and Zidane doesn't even want him around the squad. So thank you for watching. If you like that video, remember to like it and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and go down to the comment section and see if you can get the quiz question right.